Lance Harrison stood at the observation deck of the U.S. Destiny, watching Earth grow smaller in the distance. His weathered hands gripped the railing as tears floated away in the zero gravity. After 20 years of piloting ships through the solar system, this would be his final view of humanity's birthplace. The warning had come 3 months ago. A massive gamma ray burst from a nearby star system was heading straight for Earth. The world's governments had worked together in secret for decades, preparing for such a possibility. Now their planning would face its ultimate test. Amy Roberts walked up beside Lance, her tool belt clicking against the railing. As the ship's chief engineer, she had spent countless hours ensuring the quantum drive would function perfectly for their journey. "The last of the civilian ships just cleared the atmosphere," she said softly. "We're ready to lead them out." Lance nodded, his throat tight. Below them, the massive Generation ship hummed with activity. 10,000 souls slept in cryostasis, while another 1,000 remained awake to operate the vessel. They carried humanity's best and brightest: scientists, doctors, engineers, and artists, along with frozen embryos, seeds, and the combined knowledge of human civilization. "Something's different about the quantum readings," Amy said, checking her tablet. "The drive is producing energy patterns I've never seen before." She showed Lance the screen, where waves of unusual data scrolled past. "It's like it's talking to something out there." Lance studied the readings with concern. "Will it affect our jump capability?" "No. If anything, efficiency is up by 12%. I just can't explain why." A voice came over the intercom. "All hands prepare for quantum jump. Fleet coordination in 5 minutes." Lance and Amy made their way to the bridge. Captain Susan Moore sat in her command chair, reviewing final checks with her crew. 15 other ships waited in formation behind them, humanity's last hope for survival. Through the main viewport, Earth's blue sphere grew dim as they moved further away. Already, the first signs of the gamma ray burst were visible. A faint purple glow at the edges of space. In less than 48 hours, that light would reach Earth, stripping away the atmosphere and sterilizing the surface. "Fleet reports ready, Captain," said Communications Officer Ben Phillips. His voice was steady, but his hands trembled slightly as they moved across his console. Susan stood, her gray hair catching the starlight. "Send the final message to ground control." Ben's fingers danced across his panel. "Message sent. Humanity lives on. We carry you with us. Goodbye." "Quantum drive engaged," Amy reported from her station. "Power levels optimal." "Wait." She frowned at her readings. The energy pattern just changed again. "It's beautiful." The bridge crew watched in awe as waves of golden light rippled across the quantum drive's containment field. The computer registered no dangers, but nothing in their training had prepared them for this phenomenon. "Fleet synchronized," Lance announced from the helm. Course laid in for the Centauri colonies. Susan took a deep breath, looking at each member of her bridge crew. These people would be her family for the rest of her life. "Take us out, Mr. Harrison. Humanity's next chapter begins now." Lance's hands moved surely across the controls. The quantum drive hummed louder, its golden light growing brighter. As the fleet prepared to jump, a final message came from Earth. "Godspeed, our children. Make us proud." The stars stretched into lines of light, and the U.S. Destiny led humanity's exodus into the unknown. Behind them, the gamma ray burst approached Earth like a cosmic curtain, ready to close the final act of humanity's time on their home world. But ahead lay endless possibilities, and the promise that somewhere among the stars, the human race would find a new beginning. 50 years of deep space travel had changed the U.S. Destiny. Its once pristine halls now showed signs of generations living aboard, with children's drawings decorating the walls and small gardens growing in converted storage bays. Olivia Martinez sat in the communications hub, monitoring the vast emptiness of space, when the first signal arrived. At first, she thought it was a malfunction. The pattern was too regular, too intentional to be natural space noise. Her hands trembled as she enhanced the signal. "Bridge, this is communications. You need to see this. The signal grew stronger, and strange symbols appeared on her screen. They shifted and changed, as if trying different patterns. Olivia's heart raced as she realized what she was seeing. An attempt at communication. Captain Moore's daughter, Linda, had taken command 5 years ago when her mother passed away. She arrived at the communications hub with Lance Harrison, now serving as her chief advisor. Despite his age, Lance's eyes were still sharp and alert. "It's beautiful," Olivia whispered, pointing to the dancing symbols. "They're learning our language in real time. The AI translation matrix is already decoding it." Before their eyes, the alien symbols transformed into English. "Welcome, travelers. We are the Zarkuli. We offer friendship." The news spread through the fleet like wildfire. After 50 years of isolation, humanity had finally found intelligent life. The Zarkali ships appeared soon after, massive crystalline structures that dwarfed even the largest human vessels. Peter Wright, head of security, watched the alien ships with growing unease. Something about their approach pattern bothered him. "They're boxing us in," he muttered to himself, studying the tactical display. But why? The first meeting was arranged in the Destiny's main hall. The Zarkali appeared humanoid, but their skin shimmered with bioluminescent patterns, and their eyes held an ancient intelligence. Their leader, who called himself the Guide, spoke perfect English through some form of biological translation. "We have watched your journey," the Guide said, his skin pulsing with gentle blue light. "Your species shows great promise. We would share our knowledge with you." Many celebrated this offer of advanced technology and new homes on Zarkali worlds. But Peter noticed small details that others missed. The way the aliens studied human children with too much interest, how their ships had gradually surrounded the fleet. Late that night, Peter convinced Olivia to help him monitor the aliens' private communications. What they discovered chilled them to the bone. The Zarkali weren't speaking English among themselves, but their true language had been partially decoded by the ship's computer. Genetic harvest, perfect specimens, integration process. Olivia translated, her face growing pale. "They're not here to help us. They're here to use us." Peter immediately took the evidence to Captain Moore, but the Zarkali were already moving. 3 smaller ships had been quietly captured, their crews sedated and taken. The aliens hadn't expected humanity's paranoia to work in their favor. Backup systems and hidden protocols that Peter had insisted upon were now their only hope. "All ships, execute Protocol Omega," Linda Moore commanded, her voice steady despite her fear. "Emergency quantum jump now." The fleet erupted into action. Quantum drives engaged simultaneously, creating a massive energy burst that temporarily blinded the Zarkali sensors. By the time the aliens recovered, most of the human ships had vanished into quantum space. But not all of them made it. Peter watched helplessly as 4 ships, their systems somehow disabled by the Zarkali, were left behind. The screams of their crews over the radio would haunt him forever, a reminder that humanity's first contact had become their first interstellar war. The nebula wrapped around them like a purple blanket, hiding the remaining human ships from prying eyes. Through its swirling gases, Dr. Samuel Baker saw something that made his heart skip a beat. A planet with blue oceans and green landmasses, nestled safely within the cosmic storm. "It's perfect," he said, adjusting his glasses as he studied the readings. "The nebula's radiation masks our presence, but the planet's magnetic field shields the surface. We can hide here." Commander Kate Morrison stood beside him in the Destiny's observation lab, her expression cautious but hopeful. The loss of 4 ships to the Zarkali had left deep scars on the fleet's psyche. They needed this win. "What about the atmosphere?" she asked, thinking of the 15,000 survivors they had left to protect. "Better than Earth's was in its prime," Samuel replied. "And look at these mineral readings. We can build here." Within days, the first shuttles descended through the lavender clouds. Kate led the ground team, feeling real gravity and breathing unfiltered air for the first time in decades. They named the first settlement New Providence, a reminder of what they had lost and what they hoped to build. The colonists worked tirelessly. Fields were planted with seeds preserved from earth, and prefabricated habitats rose from the fertile soil. Children who had never known anything but ship corridors ran freely under an open sky, their laughter a sound of healing. But it was young Ryan Cooper, a geology student, who made the discovery that would change everything. His survey team had been mapping the area around New Providence when their equipment detected something unusual beneath the surface. "The readings don't make sense," Ryan said, showing his findings to Dr. Baker. "These energy signatures, they're artificial." The excavation began immediately. As they dug deeper, they found smooth metal walls covered in strange symbols. The structure had been buried for millions of years, yet when they cleared the main entrance, lights flickered to life along its corridors. Dr. Baker led the first exploration team, with Kate insisting on joining despite her command duties. The facility stretched for miles underground, filled with technology beyond their understanding. But it was the central chamber that left them speechless. Holographic displays activated as they entered, showing star maps and diagrams. The text was alien, but the images told a clear story. A civilization that had reached incredible heights, only to vanish mysteriously. They had left this facility as a gift for whoever might find it. "Look at these," Kate said, pointing to what appeared to be schematics. "They're not just machines. They're tools for reshaping matter itself." Samuel studied the displays with growing excitement. This is why the nebula felt so perfect. It wasn't an accident. The radiation pattern, it's artificial. This whole region was designed as a sanctuary. As if responding to his words, a new hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed humanoid figures, similar but different from Earth humans, building great works among the stars. Then it showed destruction, war, and finally a plan for preservation. "They knew someone would need this place," Kate whispered. "They prepared it for us." The discovery energized the colony. With renewed purpose, they began studying the ancient knowledge, careful not to repeat the mistakes shown in the warning holograms. New Providence grew quickly, incorporating the alien facility's power systems and environmental controls. For the first time since leaving Earth, humanity had found more than just a hiding place. They had found a home, and perhaps the key to their survival against the Zarkala threat. The real question was, would they have time to unlock its secrets before their enemies found them? 10 years passed like a dream on the sanctuary world. New Providence had grown from a collection of prefab shelters into a thriving city of 50,000. Chief Scientist Lisa Chen walked through the busy streets, watching children play near the fusion-powered fountains built with hybrid technology from the ancient facility. The changes weren't just in their surroundings. Lisa noticed subtle differences in the children born on this world. Sharper minds, quicker reflexes, and an unusual connection to the alien technology they'd uncovered. Her research suggested the nebula's unique radiation was slowly altering human biology, though not in harmful ways. In his workshop deep within the ancient facility, Daniel Foster worked with components that merged human and alien design. At 25, he was the youngest person ever to fully interface with the alien systems. The neural link at the base of his skull pulsed softly as he manipulated energy fields with his thoughts. "The integration is getting stronger," he told Lisa during her daily visit to his lab. "I can feel the machine's purpose now, not just its functions." He demonstrated by forming a complex hologram with a mere thought, showing the structure of a new defense system. But not everyone welcomed these advances. A crowd had gathered in the city center, led by Gregory Phillips, who feared the changes happening to their people. "We're becoming something else," he shouted to his followers. "Something not human." Lisa watched the protest from her office window. She understood their fear. She had felt it herself when Daniel first showed signs of enhanced abilities. But she also knew they couldn't survive in this universe without adapting. The Colony Council met that evening in the ancient chamber, its walls still glowing with the wisdom of long-dead aliens. Captain Linda Moore, her hair now streaked with gray, listened as Lisa presented her findings. "The changes aren't random," Lisa explained, projecting data streams into the air. "The facility is responding to our presence, guiding our evolution. I believe the original builders meant for this to happen." Daniel stepped forward, his neural link gleaming. "I've accessed more of their historical records. They faced enemies like the Zarkali, predatory species that hunted developing civilizations. This place wasn't just meant to hide us, it was meant to prepare us." The debate lasted hours. Some council members wanted to shut down the facility to preserve humanity in its current form. Others saw the changes as their only hope for survival. In the end, Linda made the decisive call. "We can't go backward," she declared, "but we can go forward carefully, together." They established new protocols. The enhancement process would be voluntary, closely monitored, and available only to adults who understood the implications. Daniel would train others to safely use the neural interfaces, creating a bridge between old and new. Lisa worked tirelessly to understand the process. Each enhanced human showed different abilities. Some excelled at engineering, others at biological sciences or space navigation. It was as if the technology knew what humanity needed most and shaped itself accordingly. But deep in space, far beyond the nebulous purple veil, the Zarkali continued their hunt. They had lost the humans' trail, but their biological sensors were evolving, becoming better at detecting the quantum signatures of human ships. The race was on. Would humanity complete its transformation in time? Daniel felt the answer in the ancient facilities systems. They weren't just changing to survive. They were becoming what the original builders had always hoped for, inheritors of their legacy, protectors of younger species, guardians against the darkness that had forced them to hide in the first place. The alarm sounded across New Providence on a quiet morning. Lisa Chen was in her lab when the warning came. The Zarkali had finally found them. 3 massive ships pushed through the nebulous purple clouds, their crystalline hulls glowing with deadly purpose. Richard Cole, the colony's military strategist, watched the enemy approach from the defense center. Years of preparing for this moment hadn't made it any easier. "They're testing our shield coverage," he said, noting how the alien ships probed different areas of the nebula. "But they don't know about our upgrades." The enhanced humans felt the attack coming before the first shot was fired. Daniel Foster and 30 others linked with the ancient facility systems, their neural connections glowing bright blue. Through their combined awareness, they could sense the Zarkali ship's every move. "Their command structure is rigid," Daniel reported, his eyes closed in concentration. "Each ship follows orders from the largest vessel. They can't think independently." This was the weakness they had been looking for. The first attack came swiftly. Zarkali energy beams sliced through the nebula, but scattered harmlessly against New Providence's shields. The technology they had discovered and merged with their own worked perfectly, absorbing the enemy fire and growing stronger. Richard implemented the strategy they had practiced countless times. Small, fast ships piloted by enhanced humans darted from hidden bays, using the nebula's radiation for cover. They struck the Zarkali vessels in quick hits, never staying in one place long enough to be targeted. "Their shields are adapting," Lisa warned from her monitoring station. "The Zarkali are learning from each attack." She worked frantically with her team, adjusting their defenses as the enemy changed tactics. The battle raged for hours. The colony's children huddled in underground shelters, feeling the vibrations of warfare above. But the ancient facility held firm, its power systems barely strained by the assault. Through their neural links, the enhanced humans discovered something unexpected. "The Zarkali ships," Daniel said suddenly. "They're partially biological. Their systems are like living tissue." This information spread quickly through the defense network. Richard seized the opportunity. If they're biological, they can be hurt like any living thing. He directed their attacks to focus on specific points, like striking pressure points on a body. The Zarkali ships recoiled in pain. The alien response was fierce. They launched waves of smaller craft, each carrying warriors in crystalline armor. But New Providence was ready. Enhanced humans met them in the air, using their neural links to control defense drones with impossible precision. Lisa watched in amazement as her people fought with abilities that would have seemed like magic just years ago. The children of the sanctuary world moved and fought faster than their parents ever could, their evolution guided by the ancient builder's wisdom. Two Zarkali ships retreated under the sustained attack, their crystal hulls cracked and darkened. But the largest remained, its presence a lingering threat. Through captured communication signals, they learned the terrible truth. This was only a scouting force. The main Zarkali fleet was coming. "We've won the battle," Richard said grimly, "but they'll be back with everything they have." He looked at the enhanced humans, their neural links still glowing with power. "At least now we know we can hurt them. We know they can bleed." Daniel nodded, already accessing deeper levels of the ancient facilities database. "Then we better make sure we're ready when they return, because next time they won't underestimate us." The real war for humanity's survival was about to begin. Maria Reyes moved silently through the crystalline corridors of the Zarkali command ship. Her enhanced abilities let her blend with the biomechanical walls, her neural implant translating the alien ship's signals into something her mind could understand. The secret mission had begun. Back in New Providence, Lisa Chen and Dr. Baker worked frantically in the ancient facility's deepest lab. They had discovered something in the Zarkali tissue samples from the previous battle that changed everything. The aliens weren't a natural species at all. "Look at this genetic structure," Lisa said, pointing to the complex patterns floating in the holographic display. "It's engineered, just like the changes happening to our enhanced humans. But this was done by force, not natural evolution." Through her neural link, Maria transmitted regular updates as she went deeper into enemy territory. Each transmission confirmed their theory. The Zarkali ships weren't just vessels. They were living prisons, keeping their crew bound to a single controlling intelligence. Daniel Foster coordinated the mission from New Providence. His consciousness stretched between the ancient facility and Maria's neural feed. "The central chamber is 3 levels up," he guided her. "That's where the control signals are strongest." The Zarkali never noticed Maria. Her enhanced biology, shaped by the sanctuary world's influence, let her move through their security like a ghost. When she reached the central chamber, she found something that made her blood run cold. Countless crystalline pods filled the room, each containing what looked like a sleeping Zarkali. But these weren't adults. They were being grown, manufactured like weapons. At the chamber's center stood a massive crystal pillar, pulsing with the same biological signals that controlled the entire ship. "They're not just hunting us," Maria whispered through her link. "They're building an army." In New Providence, Lisa's team made the final connection. The ancient facilities records confirmed their worst fears. The Zarkali were weapons created millions of years ago by a species that had tried to conquer the facilities builders. When that species was defeated, their weapons, the Zarkali, were left without masters, but their programming to hunt and harvest advanced civilizations remained. "The gamma-ray burst that destroyed Earth," Dr. Baker said, his voice shaking. "It wasn't natural. The Zarkali engineered it, forcing us to flee, making us easier to track and harvest." Maria reached the crystal pillar, planting the special devices Lisa had designed. Part computer virus, part biological agent, they would disrupt the control signals, keeping the Zarkali enslaved to their ancient programming. The enhanced humans felt the moment the devices activated. The Zarkali ship's biological systems screamed in confusion as thousands of minds suddenly woke from their programmed slavery. The control pillar's light flickered and died. Through the neural network, they felt something else: recognition. The freed Zarkali minds touched theirs, sharing memories buried deep in their engineered genes. They had been people once, civilizations from 100 worlds, all transformed into living weapons. "We can free them all," Maria transmitted, watching as the confused but awakening Zarkali emerged from their mental chains. We can end this war not by fighting, but by healing. Daniel's voice came through the link, filled with hope and determination. Then let's wake them up. All of them. It's time to break an empire of slaves and build something new. The revolution had begun, and with it, the true purpose of humanity's evolution became clear. They weren't just survivors anymore. They were liberators. The final battle for humanity's future played out among the purple clouds of the nebula. The main Zarkelli fleet had arrived, 100 crystal ships surrounding New Providence. But this time, the humans weren't fighting alone. Dr. Baker and Lisa Chen had worked without rest, producing enough of their liberation virus to free entire ships at once. The enhanced humans, led by Daniel Foster, formed a vast neural network, their combined consciousness reaching out to the enslaved minds trapped within the crystal vessels. Remember who you were, Daniel broadcast through the network, his message carried by the ancient facility's power. Remember who you are. The first ship broke free near the edge of the fleet. Its crystalline surface changed color from cold blue to warm gold as its crew awakened from their mental prison. Then another ship followed, and another. The Zarkalis Central Command fought back, sending waves of pain through their biological network. Maria Reyes, still aboard the command ship she had infiltrated, made her way to its heart. The ship's newly freed crew helped her, their own neural links now tuned to the human frequency. They knew their only chance was to break the main control signal at its source. In New Providence, Lisa monitored the biological changes sweeping through the fleet. The primary ships are resisting, she reported. Their control systems are older, more deeply rooted. The ancient facility's screens showed the battle in real time. Ships of gold fighting ships of blue in a dance of liberation and resistance. Richard Cole coordinated the defense fleet, now bolstered by freed Zarkali ships. Push them toward the nebula's edge, he commanded. They can't maintain their biological control signals in the radiation fields. The battle shifted. Ships that had been weapons of conquest became agents of freedom. Each freed vessel joined the effort to awaken others, their combined power growing stronger with each liberation. The Human Enhancement Program had prepared them perfectly for this moment, not to destroy the Zarkali, but to heal them. Through the neural network, stories flowed from the freed crews. They had been scholars, artists, explorers, civilians from worlds the original Zarkali masters had harvested centuries ago. Their bodies had been transformed, their minds enslaved, but their true selves had survived deep within. In the command ship's core, Maria reached the central control crystal. Its surface pulsed with angry red light, fighting to maintain its hold over the fleet. She placed her hand on its surface, channeling the combined power of human enhancement and ancient technology. Now, Daniel, she called through the network. Every enhanced human in New Providence focused their energy through the ancient facility, through Maria, into the crystal's heart. The freed Zarkali joined them, adding their own strength to the effort. The crystal shattered with a sound that echoed through both physical and mental space. As its pieces fell, the last enslaved ships went dark, then relit with the warm golden glow of freedom. The war was over. In the days that followed, the liberated Zarkali joined the human colony. The ancient facilities builders had known this day would come. Their own civilization had faced similar threats. They had prepared humanity not just to survive, but to become healers of the galaxy's deepest wounds. New Providence grew into something greater than a refugee settlement. It became a beacon for lost and broken civilizations, a place where the transformed could find acceptance and purpose. The last humans had not only survived, they had helped create a new future for all sentient life.